Well, good evening, everyone. I was sitting here talking to my husband. And as you guys may know, I'm very upset about this guy, Chris, on Love is Blind. When he told this beautiful Demi Moore lookalike doctor, ER doctor, that, oh, well, I can't really get into being physical with you because you don't do Pilates and you don't work out as much as the women I've dated in the past. Now, question my husband asked me is that, well, why is he on Love is Blind? He has access to so many beautiful, fit women. Why is he on Love is Blind? Stick with your pool of women that you already have access to. So what we know is that's a lie. If you were dating that, you're also under 5 feet 5. Studies show, and Dateline did a study. I watched it about 10 years ago. Men under 5 feet 5, they did like a room, like a fake room where they put you behind a glass and then they let the women pick you. The guys under 5 feet 5 were the last ones to be picked. Okay. So the fact that you got CrossFit models, and that's a lie, because I watched Dateline. None of those chicks wanted you, dude. You picked this beautiful Demi Moore lookalike chick and told her that she wasn't beautiful, that she was something you had to work to be physically attracted to. And so I was talking to my husband. I said, what is that about? He said, well, she had a beautiful house. She's a doctor. She had a 4-bedroom house. And she's so humble. She said, I only bought this house because when I grew up, my mother would cook for everybody. And then the whole family would put on pajamas and we'd spend the night and sleep in different rooms. And it was so fun. And now that my mother's getting up in years, I wanted to take on the same legacy and then use my house as the gathering place for everybody. It's the humble, beautiful girl. Well, I can't have sex with you. You don't do Pilates. This man is under 5 feet 5. What if somebody walked up to him and said, well, you're kind of a short guy. I don't consider you a protective person. I don't think you have a lot of brawn. As a female, I don't feel safe and sexually attracted to you because you're not the Hercules of the bedroom. You're a little scrawny guy. I feel like I'm screwing a kid. Nobody said that to this dude, but he felt he had to say that to this woman. And so I talked to my husband. I said, what is this? He said, we feel some type of way when we're not in the power position. I said, well, why on earth would he give up such a beautiful woman? He said, I'm going to go see my number 2. I just keep feeling about her. I feel in some type of way. When we were in the pods, when we didn't know what people look like, I saw her after the fact, and I just want to go see her. I said, what would make him do that? And Jason said, because his number 2 is just as messed up in the head as he is. Some men crave dysfunction and confusion. And that girl was nice, well-adjusted. She was a doctor. She had a beautiful home. There's no chaos. He's a mixed-up individual, and he wants to go find a woman who's his equal, who's also mixed up and confused with low self-esteem and making bad decisions and regretting them the next day. That's who he wants. So I asked him, I said, do most men want dysfunction? He said, Shannon, there's something about dysfunction and chaos that's very exciting. I remember watching Wendy Williams, and she said, beauty pageant women are boring. Men don't like them. I thought, well, why wouldn't they like the beauty pageant girls? They're very nice and poised, and they have like a dream for America. They ask them, what's your plans? She said, I want to fight to end child hunger. Okay, usually those are nice people. He said, we don't like those. I said, he said, we like people who are confused, dysfunctional, controversial. We like you to be a mess. I said, why? He said, because then we can rescue you when you're a mess, when you're insecure, when you're not sure. But because that woman was so together, he had to break her down. It's a very sad thing, but it's real. I remember there was this guy. I was working at the airport. I was working at Hertz Rent-A-Car. And he came up to the counter. Nice guy. He's Puerto Rican. And he asked me out. A lot of guys would ask me out. I was 20 years old. Okay, I'm going to get asked out. I'm always asked out at 20. Okay, so this guy asked me out. He said, can I take you out after you get off work? I said, listen, I get off at midnight. Let's just get together tomorrow. So we exchanged numbers and we went to lunch. I said, you want to see my place? We walked back to my place. And he liked it. He said, there's nothing I can do for you. I said, what do you mean there's nothing you can do for me? He said, you have a nice little room. Your rent's paid. It's well decorated. He said, what's my place? Where do I fit in? And that stuck with me. I was 20 years old. I bought 19 or 20 at the time. It stuck with me because I thought, what? I thought you was just coming to hang out. We're going to eat and watch some videos, go to Blockbuster. No, he felt uncomfortable because he wasn't in the power position. I already had everything set up. I was working full time at Hertz. I was paying my own rent. I was trying to survive and get through Howard. He was like, what role can I play? That was something to me. That was really, you guys said, well, what's the guy's name? I don't remember his name. I just know that stayed with me as we walked out of my apartment, my room that I was renting in a house. That stayed with me that he thought, this is over. I think you're beautiful. He was always telling me, I think you're so beautiful. And of course, a 19-year-old, 20-year-old girl loves to hear that. Oh, you're so beautiful. But when he saw my place, it was a deal breaker. I don't care how beautiful you are. I got to go. And so I'm looking at these shows and I'm thinking, is this the same thing? Like, once we have ourselves in a comfortable position, the men get mad. And so my husband said, yeah, Shannon, we like for you to be vulnerable. We like for you to be weak. And I said, well, can't you just be strong? And then you don't have to worry about us being weak. I said, you know what I noticed? Cindy Crawford went to the MTV Awards, right? And she was a top model back then. I think she was 25. And she was top. She was on cover of Glamour every other day, Cosmo, Glamour. And she says some dude that was like a middle-aged, fat, bald, white man walked up to her and said, you're kind of fat. I didn't expect you to be so fat in person. And she thought to herself, you're a middle-aged, bald, you're a basic white man. You're not a badass. You're not a Matthew McConaughey. You're not a Leonardo. You basic. You're not a Brad Pitt. You're just regular. Like, I pass you to the grocery store, I won't even look at you twice. But you walked up to me as Cindy Crawford and told me I needed to lose weight. Oh my God. And I told my husband, I said, she had a good point because there's never been a gorgeous man who's ever insulted me. I've never had a gorgeous man like a Boris Kodjoe or Morris Chestnut. I've never had one of those dudes walk up to me and insult me. Now, the basic dudes, mediocre dudes, your thighs are big. You too thick to try to be. I've had dudes insult me, but they were never like a Boris Kodjoe or Morris Chestnut. They were never like a badass dude. They were always like a regular, like a 5. It dawned on me, those dudes do that on purpose because they are so low on the totem pole. They can't reach you. So they have to make you think you're on their level to get to you. I'm a 5. Let me see if I can make Eva Longoria think she's a 5. Maybe I can make Halle Berry think she's a 5. Oh, maybe I can trick on some more beautiful women. Naomi Campbell. Maybe I can make her think she's a 3. Let me see what I can do because I'm a 5. It's really sad when you feel that way about yourself and then you go around trying to break women down. And I always thought, I said, okay, male privilege, patriarchy. Why on earth would a man be competing with a woman? I mean, after all, you're a man. You have some advantages in this world that we don't have. Things are slanted in your favor. Why are you so angry with us? And I thought to myself, oh my God, you feel weak. You feel weaker among your own species. You don't even feel like a whole man. So you attack women. Oh my God. You don't even feel like a whole man. You go looking for the underdog. It's really sad. But I think back to my life all through puberty and high school and just growing up and being a girl. The dudes who always had negative comments tried to, I guess the young people call it negging. They were not good looking guys. And then I used to like guys that weren't necessarily good looking. As long as you were nice to me, I was cool. You'd leave a card on my windshield. They have a friend put in a word for them, like, hey, so-and-so really likes you. Can he get a shot at you? I've had dudes leave flowers when I was younger. I was 19, 20, 21. I always gave you a shot. I didn't go by your physical appearance. But the fact that I'm watching Love is Blind, this is a different time. The men are superficial, but the women are still the same. It's like, you don't have to be beautiful. We just want to have a beautiful heart next to us. And people say, well, Shannon, weren't you shallow? Jason's a good looking guy. No, I fell in love with Jason. My base. If you check every boyfriend, go through my photo album, nobody looked as good as Jason. I didn't care about that stuff. I kind of was into nerds. Like if you had good grades and you were like a Boy Scout, you went to church, that was my vibe. It just so happened that I met this guy in class and we were just vibing. We were playing backgammon. We were watching videos. We were laughing and talking. And we just vibed. And we just one day said, let's hang out. Forget everybody else. Let's just hang out. It wasn't like a thing like we tried to plan it. It was just organic. And so I look at these shows and I say, what happened to organic? Where you're just vibing and hanging out and it just happens. It doesn't make sense to me, you know? And I'm not saying my husband was a saint, that he was always nice to me or said nice things or complimentary things. But I had a lot of self-esteem so I could withstand a lot of stuff. And I think he told me later, he said, I said those things to you because I felt insecure. It had nothing to do with you. And I believe that. And I watched the show and I feel if I could grab each one of these girls and pull them to the side and say, don't pay attention to what's being said to you. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're strong. And he feels some type of way because he's socialized to feel that type of way. And his instinct is to bring you down. If I could say that, I would do it. I don't know these girls. I'm going to Instagram, inbox, whatever I have to do. But I just want to share that with you, that I'm very angry that this guy told this girl so many mean things about her. And everybody, it's blowing up on social media. I'm not the only one fighting for this girl. But just so you know, women, you're beautiful, you're strong. And when the guy says something negative to you, I want you to look at him. First, check his height, check his bank account, and check his swag. If he's mediocre looking, with regular money, and nobody's checking for him, let's disregard his comment and just say, okay, well, you're a regular dude. I'll take it under advisement. Let's do what Cindy Crawford did. You're a regular dude. You look like Woody Allen. I'm good with your comments. I'll survive. And I married Richard Gere. So there you go. All right. Bye-bye.